So the Niners had just traded Baltimore for a 6-year vet. Uh, he lasted 2 weeks. They cut him, brought me in, and it was a short week that week. We were playing the Cowboys on Saturday instead of Sunday, and so they give me this skinny little playbook. I have like one day in pads,
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, and then or Wednesday, and then Thursday. We have a light Friday. We fly for the game anyway. Get a skinny little playbook. First play I'm in. Um, Now I had a history of concussions all throughout my career, but I never missed any time.
Mm-hmm.
I played games at Colorado where we played Oregon one year. Uh, I had the only interception of my career, a couple of sacks. I was player of the week, and I have zero memory of it.
Okay. Wow.
I guess I was laid out in the first quarter on a tackle, face down. Um, they helped me off the field. This was all secondhand. I was
Just like
told by
other
other
people
guys.
telling you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they helped me off, clear my head, smelling salts, and I come in and play the rest of the game. And
But you
back
have
then
no
it was
memory of it.
no, no.
Oh, wow.
And back then it was called getting your bell rung. It was a
Mm-hmm.
joke.
Yeah. It was
Uh,
just like, it's part of the process. It's, everyone goes through it. It's going to happen. It's just
yeah.
deal with it.
I mean, I watched another one of my teammates in Colorado, Tom Perry, just a stud linebacker. He would have been a first rounder. He had everything going for him. We're
Mm-hmm.
playing Nebraska one year. Tom was a year or two ahead of me, so it was probably my sophomore, junior year. He gets dinged during the game while we're playing Nebraska. You know, goes off sidelines. Clears his head, comes back in, finishes the game. We're in the locker room showering after the game. He drops into convulsions,
Oh, wow.
brain hemorrhage. Our orthopedic surgeon takes a drill they used to drill our helmets, drills a couple holes in his head. He realized what was
Oh.
going on
Mm-hmm.
to relieve pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They fly him. We were playing in Lincoln, Nebraska. There were no neurosurgeons there.
Mm-hmm.
They flew him to Omaha. 8-hour brain surgery to evacuate all these blood clots in his brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 days later, had another brain surgery. I just connected with Tom uh, just a couple months ago. Hadn't seen him in years, so we've just been reconnected again.
That's
Um,
awesome. Well, it sounds like he had, what would that be, an epidural hematoma where the,
yep,
the brain bleeds
exactly.
and then they
Yeah.
go in there, release the pressure. But by that point, it's blood is everywhere. Blood
Oh
shouldn't
yeah.
be in the brain and it's clotting and that's really shouldn't be in the brain. So
And,
that's,
and the
that's
brain's
intense.
encased in just a confined space, so any extra fluid in there is crushing that brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I get knocked unconscious the very first play I'm in with the 49ers, my rookie year. Um, don't re- and the trainers and doctors laughingly told me a week and a half later when my memory came back that I went through 15 or 20 smelling salts during the Dallas game. I'd go through a few series, come out sideways. They'd give me a couple of smelling salts, clear my head, go back in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember playing the Cowboys. I don't remember playing the Rams the next week.
So your memory is just blank for a
Oh, it's
week.
gone.
Oh
It's
my
literally
gosh.
just, and once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and so that was almost mid-season. That was like the fifth, sixth, seventh games of the season, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And then played the rest of the season. Actually, they caught me a couple weeks later, and then brought me back like the last 3 or 4 games of the season.
Interesting.
And then I come back just a few months later for the '81 season. Now, this was the year we drafted Ronnie Lott, defensive back, who's now in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
We had 3 rookie DBs starting. This was the year Dwight Clark made the famous catch against Dallas that put us in the Super Bowl. So we ended up taking the whole show.
Yeah. Did
Now,
win in the
and
Super Bowl and everything, right?
yeah, that was their very
Yeah.
first Super Bowl, '81.
Okay.
It was January of '82, the '81 season.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just a few months after my last concussion with the Cowboys, and that whole spring and going into the summer, I was getting headaches and ball of light in front of each eyeball when I had these
Mm.
headaches, and my hearing would come and go with the beat of my heart. And then I'd start projectile vomiting at night,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
all signs of intracranial pressure.
Oh yeah. All of that is no good.
Yeah. And projectile vomiting, the term projectile is legit.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
it's it's like you can hit the ball from 20 yards out and chip porcelain. I mean, it comes out like a fire hose.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, the pressure is it's getting down to your brainstem. It's getting down to
Yeah.
the vital areas.
And so I go see the team docs. They tell me it's high blood pressure. So they have me on high blood pressure pills for weeks.
Yeah, that's an excellent
And I
diagnosis.
and I just blown my knee out. I just had knee surgery,
Hmm.
and luckily, so I was coming back off of that, and I wasn't banging heads every day in practice. I was injured, but my head was getting worse and worse. And then September 14th, uh, I just got to where I we had played Chicago that day, and I was on injury reserve with my knee surgery.
Hmm.
And after the game, my two roommates who I played with, Terry Totola and Scott Stouch, and I had some friends come up for the game. We all go out and we have beers like we do after every game.
Hmm.
But my symptoms for the prior few weeks were such that I'd wake up in the morning with a headache, and then as the day progressed, the headache would get worse and worse till late afternoon. I'd have these balls of light in my eye.
Hmm.
My hearing would come and go with the beat of my heart, which later on through my own investigation, it was due to my brain was so swollen. Every time my heart beat, the blood would literally pinch off my auditory nerves.
Mm.
All signs of
Oh my
intracranial
gosh.
pressure,
Yeah.
um, vomiting. And so we played Chicago that night, and we go out for a few beers about 10 o'clock. I tell everybody, hey, I'm heading to the barn. I'm feeling horrible.
Hmm.
So I drive back to the apartment, can hardly see with the balls of light in my eyes, the hearing gone, puking, get back there, and I'm just, I think I'm dying. My head is ready to explode. So Terry and Scott come in about 2:30 after the bar's closed, and Terry goes, hey man, he goes, you look like hell. Let me take you to the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
And I said, thanks for the compliment, buddy. But I said, no, no, no. You have this people don't understand, but you got this athlete, especially football player warrior mentality
Hmm.
that they pounded into your brain. Now, in my brain, there wasn't a lot of room to pound it in
Yeah, it
because
was
it's
pretty
full of
pounded
fluid.
already. Yeah, sounds like.
But you never complain.
Yeah, just
You
suck it
know,
up, keep
yeah.
moving, don't
I mean,
complain.
pussies talk about their injuries.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Terry and Scott, they keep coming in. I mean, I'm up puking so hard now. My stomach's empty. I don't mean to get rude, but I had torn something, so I'm just puking up bloody foam.
Hmm.
My eyesight's going. So 3:30, 4, 5, they've checked on me 2, 3 times. Let's take you to the hospital. No, no, no. Finally, later on, late, or early in the morning, I finally passed out.
Hmm. Like lost consciousness.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
and before that though, before I'm laying in bed between one of my puking bouts, and I mean things are bad. My head's gonna explode. I can't see. I can't hear, and my right arm curls up across my chest with my fist up under my chin.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, man, that's a weird cramp. And I pull it out, but when I grabbed it, this arm was numb. I couldn't feel my other hand grabbing it.
Oh my.
I
Yeah.
pull it out, I let go, and it curls back up across my chest like this, real slow. And just so I'm laying there in bed now. I'm thinking, okay, I'm dying.
Yeah.
You
These
know,
are some crazy symptoms. I mean,
well, and focal point paralysis is what they call it.
okay.
So now I'm praying, and I'm like, okay, God, don't let me die here. And also, God, please send Terry or Scott back in. If they come in to check on me, I'll let them take me to the hospital.
Hmm.
People have asked me, well, why didn't you go wake him up? And I said, I didn't want to be a pussy. I mean,
That I mean,
they played,
that's how drilled in it was, I guess.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they played a game that day. I didn't. I'm not going to go wake him up. Hey, man, take me to the hospital. So I finally passed out, I don't know, 5 or 6 in the morning. And when we get up around 7:30, uh, I could move this arm, but I could barely lift a cup of coffee. The
Mm.
days after games are light days. We go in, injured players, you get treatments, couple meetings, couple light workout, break a little sweat, and you're out of there early. And
Okay.
the team docs come in that day, right? So we have the orthopedic and the gym. So I waited till our orthopedic surgeon, who had earned the nickname Dr. D for Dr. Doom prior to me getting there for the number of careers he ended with surgeries.
Hmm.
I waited till he sees everyone that got dinged the day before. And he had a little examining room attached to our locker room in Redwood City. I walk in his office. This is the same guy that's been telling me for weeks it's high blood pressure.
Yeah, he was the one who drilled the holes. And the other guy
No, no,
said,
that was in college. That was
"Oh,
our
okay,
that was our doc when I was at Colorado.
okay." But this
So
is the
now
NFL guy.
yep, now we're at San Francisco. And so I walk in his office and I said, don't freaking tell me it's high blood pressure. I
Hmm.
said, my arm went paralyzed. And he rolls his eyes. He says, sit down. I sit down on this little table. He gets his little retinascope, those little lights that they look in your eye with.
Yeah.
He looks in my eye and he says, oh my God, your brain's hemorrhaging. Now I come off the table ready to kill him, right? I'm
Hmm.
like, you son of a, and he's
Yeah.
going, no, wait. So, I'm just mad dogging him, and he reaches behind there's a desk behind him. He grabs a phone. He starts calling a couple of numbers and calling a couple, and then he scribbles a little bit on a piece of paper. He hands it to me at like arm's length, like I'm radioactive or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he goes, here, go home, lie down, drive yourself to Stanford Hospital this afternoon and see this neurologist, Dr. Adornato. So in my book, I wrote that my first thought was, whew, must be one of those mild brain hemorrhages. I
Yeah.
would have called an ambulance.
Yeah. One of the
You know
brain
what I
hemorrhage.
mean?
It's an easy brain hemorrhage.
Isn't it crazy?
No, I mean, I read on your like when I was reading about you, I read that you had like a 38-year long legal battle, but I had no idea that it
Oh,
was like this is some. It's almost impressive how terrible and how inept the medical
oh,
professionals were for this. I mean, today that this happens, I would hope, and they would have caught this. I mean, well, how long was it before your initial symptoms started, and you actually like to where we are right now with
oh,
the neurological stuff?
oh, it was weeks.
Yeah,
I've been
no,
having
that's
problems.
that's criminal, like
Right.
legitimately.
I mean, they keep telling me I keep taking your high blood pressure pills.
Hmm.
I'm 22-year-old athlete, prime of my life. I was in greatest shape of my life,
Hmm.
and I had cut down from my freshman, my rookie year. They had me all beefed up, and I cut down. I was like 259. I played 275. I was trim, tight, great shape, and they're telling me I have high blood pressure.
Yeah, it doesn't track.
Well, another symptom of intracranial pressure is hypertension.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
it's
they
it's
missed
incredible how
how
poor these
inept
doctors
how
treated you.
inept they are.
Yeah, like it's almost hard to believe, but I mean, you're not the first person I've heard stories of
Well,
ridiculous diagnoses.
and a lot of it too was, you know what? When you're on injury reserve, they have to pay you anyway.
Hmm.
So they want to suck every single play they can out of you till you're done.
Hmm.
So anyway, so I drove back to our apartment. Terry and Scott and I were living in Foster City, and that's about, I don't know, 20 miles from Stanford Hospital.
Hmm.
I go home, lay down. Of course, my headache's getting worse and worse. So I had to have a pillow over my face. I couldn't even stand lights. I drive myself through Bay Area traffic to Stanford Hospital that
Hmm.
afternoon. I see this neurologist, Dr. Adornato, and he takes one look at me and they want to do a CT brain scan. Now, I'd had one um, just a week prior, that as I'm looking through my medical records just yesterday, and I had forgotten I even had one earlier.
Hmm.
And those showed my ventricles were enlarged, filling with fluid in my brain, and they did
Hmm.
nothing about it.
Yeah, that's just another bullet point on this long list of
Oh,
ineptitude.
it's crazy. So I go see, he takes one look at me. They want to do a CAT scan, but the scan was booked up for a couple hours. Now it's getting late in the afternoon. So I told the doc, I said, hey, I said, I'll come back. I said, I'm getting close to my puking time, you know. And he looks at me and he says, you drove here? He goes, you can't drive like this. I said, I've been driving like this for weeks. So we argue. He convinces me to hang out in a room for a couple hours till they can do the CAT scan. So and I'm pissed. I got, you know what? I just wanted to go home and lay down. I was ready to start puking. So I hang out in a little room. They take me in, do a CT brain scan, and it's like, whoops, you know, your ventricles, and you have ventricles in your brain,
Mm-hmm.
like ventricles in your heart. They're just cavities. They don't pump anything,
Yeah.
but they're normally about the diameter of a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And the back two ventricles produce a pint of spinal fluid a day, and it
That's a
goes
lot.
through a little teeny tiny. It's called the aqueduct of Sylvius. It's a little tube.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the front two ventricles, then it goes around your brain, down your spinal column, and it's used to flush out uh, toxins, debris, dead cells.
Yeah.
So when you have hydrocephalus, like I had developed, water on the brain, you get blockage in there. So when that fluid builds up, it doesn't go anywhere. It starts just crushing your brain. So they rush me in. They do emergency. It's called a VP shunt brain surgery. It's a ventricular peritoneal shunt. So they drill the hole in my skull,
Mm-hmm.
run a tube to the middle of the brain, has to end in one of those little tiny ventricles. Then they ran a tube under a drain tube under my skin to the back of my head, installed this pressure valve. From the other end of the pressure valve, they ran a tube down. I can feel it. I've got my finger on it right now. Down the side of my neck, it goes through my pectoral muscle, down in my abdomen, and it drains. It's draining spinal fluid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as we're speaking right now.